Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on the Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we know, we are just a couple of days from the biggest spiritual act of adultery that is about to happen, which is the pagan Christmas. And everything is based around it. Most of us will end up getting off days for Christmas, whether or not we want to celebrate it or not. They pretty much make you celebrate the pagan days that they have instituted. So when we look at what's written in this book, we have to consider what these things mean unto Yahweh. For we continually hear that this is about the kids. It's about the kids. But when we start reading in this book, we find that these things were going on long before we knew anything about Christ. Long before we got anywhere near the shores of America, these things were already in place. So these are great transgressions against Yahweh, our Elohim, who has stated that he is married unto us, and then said that he is a jealous Elohim. So it is a very great act of jealousy that is about to provoke Yahweh. For it's one thing what the heathen does, but what has happened is now Israel has become really big in these things that we really want to mimic the other nations, and in doing so we tend to attempt to outdo them. But before we get started, brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence?
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Messiah also have loved us, and has given himself for us, an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, we're going to begin today's sermon in Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read verses 1 through 5. And today's sermon is entitled, The Jealous Elohim.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your El, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
So he's pretty specific about this right off the rip as he's excuse me, given these instructions. He starts out with this particular thing here. So this is first on Yahweh's mind about Israel worshiping other gods and causing his jealousy to be stirred up. Go ahead.
Verse 5. You shall not bow down yourselves to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh your El, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
So right off the rip, as we're then, if you keep reading, of course, we go into these commandments and these things that were given. But to start with, he lets you know what the main focus is. Let's go to Exodus chapter 31. Exodus chapter 31, and we're going to start that at verse 18, and we're going to read that through chapter 32 and verse 12. Exodus 31 and verse 18 through chapter 32 and verse 12.
Verse 18. And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of El. And when the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down out of the mount,
that's all it took. A little pause, and Israel goes haywire. Go ahead.
the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him.
Right. All it takes is a couple days, and Israel is all together on a totally different plan. Go ahead.
And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt.
Right. And that's just something to make them feel good. They know they just made that. So how they brought you out of anywhere? And what kind of God can it be if you can make it? How powerful is that God that you can make yourself? But see, the way we work is if something makes us feel a certain way in here, we'll go all out for it. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Yahweh.
Now, and this is where we get it real twisted, where we're going to take the pagan God, use something that we can feel, touch, taste, then turn around and mingle Yahweh with that. Go ahead.
And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go, get you down, for your people which you brought up out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them.
Out of the way. Go ahead.
They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be your gods, O Israel, which have brought you up out of the land of Egypt.
Now, you have to really rattle this thing around in your head to really see how foul it is. They made a molten calf and worshipped it and said, these be the gods that brought you out of Egypt. But that was the Egyptian God. So the Egyptian God brought you out of Egypt? There's some deep confusion right there. But see, that's that captive mindset. And we got the same problem here. Same thing. We know certain things have caused us nothing but problems. Yet we will still cling to it. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people.
See, that stiff neck is stubbornness, and no matter how many times we run dead into that wall, we're gonna back up and try it again. This time it's gonna work better. No, it's not. That's still a brick wall. And you still gonna hit it, and you still gonna pass out. Go ahead.
Now therefore, let me alone, that my anger may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of you a great nation. And Moshe besought Yahweh his El, and said, Yahweh, why does your wrath wax hot against your people, which you have brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power, and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce anger, and repent of this evil against your people.
Now, we then get to be saved because of Yahweh's namesake, because Yahweh then does not want to blaspheme his own name, for the which we carry while we are being disobedient, but he's still upholding his name, and part of upholding his name is upholding us. So you have to understand how far we had to get out of the way for him to go ahead and say, I'm going to have to rigorously punish this people, because soon as he does this, he has to punish himself. So he keeps delaying this punishment, delaying it, giving us little bits of captivity. 5 years here, 10 years here, 12 years here, 18 years here, hoping that the children of Israel will see the error of their ways. But when you talk about a stiff-necked and rebellious people, we're going to keep going in that way until it kills us. Deuteronomy chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1. And see, the people who are about to commit this humongous act of spiritual adultery, they are feeling absolutely good about it. They have already reconciled all these things in their heart. Understand that there are many educated people who understand that there's no way possible that the Mashiach was born during this time of year. They already know it. But then they make another excuse why it's okay to still do it. That's stiff neck. No matter what happened, I'm going to figure out another reason that I can keep doing what I'm doing. Deuteronomy chapter 4, and let's read verses 1 through 39.
Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you for to do them, that you may live, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh El of your fathers giveth you. You shall not add on to the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahweh your El, which I command you.
Because either one is a lie. See, if you add to the story, you lie. And if you take away from the story, you lie. Somehow, we haven't got that. You tell half of a story, you lie. You tell more than what happened in the story, you lie. But we go to hear these people lie on Yahweh every Sunday morning. The place looked like a concert. People packed in to go and hear people tell lies on Yahweh every week. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, Yahweh your El has destroyed them from among you. But you that did cleave unto Yahweh your El are alive, every one of you, this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my El commanded me.
Right. It said every scribe who is instructed into the kingdom. So then Moshe is given this thing, and then he says, I have taught you statutes and judgments. Yet you have all of these people that say, they're self-taught. They're apostles. In the beginning of this whole thing, Yahweh is making sure that Israel is taught these things. They're not imagining them. They're not having prophetic dreams about what it is they're supposed to do. They're being instructed. And before he even gave Moshe to be the one to give them this instruction, he made him go learn from another priest. Then he gave him these things. So now these things make sense when he get them. Because he already been doing this. Go ahead.
That you should do so in the land whether you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. And you know for a fact, the nations don't look at us and think of wisdom or understanding. They show us on the news every day. And if you in the room, and I've been in the room with other nations, and certain stuff come on TV, on the news, and they have to bite their tongue because they'll forget you in there. And they be like, look at those, baby, change it. You got that coffee in there? Right. See, that's the kind of stuff that they say about you, and while you're not around. That the television helps fuel that, and they ain't thinking wisdom and understanding, because they showing all our dirty laundry on that television. They know what they're doing, but then you have us who are deliberately going against the wisdom and understanding. Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who has El so near unto them, as Yahweh our El is in all things that we call upon him for?
In all things that we call upon him for. Here's the question. What do you call upon him for? See, we real slick about what we call on Yahweh for. See, we'll mention this, but we won't mention that over there. Hell, that's your biggest problem. What you ain't mention that for? Now I'm gonna talk to Yahweh about this right here, because this is nice stuff. You do know he know about that right there, over there, right? But you ain't gonna mention that in your prayer, right? Right here it says, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who has Elohim so near unto them? Wise and understanding is definitely not what the nations see, because we know that every time they show us on the news, they look for the dumbest brother they can find and let him talk. You can see other people who got sense in the background. They're like, no, I don't talk to him. You tell me what happened. And if the person talk like they got too much sense, they ain't gonna talk to him. Well, what happened was, no, I don't want to talk to you. What happened? They came down there, he shot that man, you know what I'm saying? That's who making it on TV. That's who making it on TV. He said, he is ignorant. This is what we do. And then they gonna zoom right in on his ignorant face. They gonna get right in on his ignorant face. So you can see his nostrils wide open in there. I think they shoot under, so they can shoot the back part of the nostril. You can see the nostrils coming out. What the hell is this? Right. So they can make sure that none of the nations see you as being wise and understanding. They know what they're doing. Go ahead.
Verse 8, Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 8. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day?
Right. But every Sunday morning we hear that law is nailed to the cross. That law is nailed to the cross. You ain't got to do nothing with that law. Then the folk come out and find their radio missing, and they got call the law. They done stole my radio. What you? I thought there wasn't no law. What you care for? Right. Go ahead.
Only take heed to yourself, and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest you depart from your heart all the days of your life. But teach them your sons and your sons' sons, especially the day that you stood before Yahweh your El in Horeb, when Yahweh said unto me, Gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children.
And that's part of the issue. Israel has not learned the fear of Yahweh. We fear the establishment. We fear not being able to get our check on Friday. See? And that's how we provoke the jealousy of Yahweh. Because we fear not being able to get that check on Friday, we show up exactly on time. When Mr. Bob Dabalina said the job started at 8, we there at 7:58. Let it be something for Yahweh. People might show up. They might not. Might show up 20, 30, 40 minutes late. Then show up, ain't got none of the stuff they supposed to have. Right. They don't have no fear of Yahweh. But they fear Mr. Bob Dabalina though. They had his job on time. They had his job dressed the way they supposed to be dressed. They had his job looking the way they supposed to be looking. They had his job talking and on their best behavior. Hello, Mr. Dabalina, how are you? Oh. Let them see one of their brothers. What's up, man? Right. Go ahead, man.
Verse 11. And you came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burnt with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And Yahweh spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone.
Where you at, bro?
Verse 14.
All right, what chapter?
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 14. And Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whether you go over to possess it. Take you therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire.
You saw no similitude, yet you walk in churches, and especially the Catholic ones, and there's images everywhere. They're gonna tell you what angels look like. They most of them women with long hair, and they got these big old wings. Most of them white, of course. Then we got us some little black images now, because we jealous of the heathen. So then we make us some little heathen statues, but no manner of similitude. Yet you go in there, and this images everywhere. Where they come from? Because they ain't come out this book. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
It said the likeness of any fowl that flies in the air. They finna get ready to worship animal that don't even fly, and it fly. The reindeer supposed to be on the ground. They finna be in the sky. They didn't even pick one that's supposed to be in the sky. Go ahead.
At least you lift up your eyes onto heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, should you be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahweh your El has divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. But Yahweh has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as you are this day. Furthermore, Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and sware that I should not go over Jordan, and that I should not go in unto that good land, which Yahweh your El gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over Jordan, but you shall go over and possess that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh your El, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything which Yahweh your El has forbidden you. For Yahweh your El is a consuming fire, even a jealous Elohim.
Right. So you create this situation of jealousy between you and your Elohim when you worship these other gods, when you're doing these other things. And what we do, we put regular people above Yahweh. We'll go all the way out for regular people and give a half effort unto Yahweh. That automatically sparks his jealousy. When you think about all the things that we did, not knowing the truth, going to church on Sunday, and how far we went out to do some of those things, then here it is, and Yahweh gives us the truth, and then we come forth with a half effort. You have already enraged the jealousy of your Elohim, because he's looking at, look at all that stuff you did back there for Lucifer. Look at all that attention you gave Lucifer. You all, hi Lucifer, how you doing? You comfortable, Lucifer? You thirsty? Then you ain't got nothing to give Yahweh. No time. No nothing. Yeah, you have already enraged the jealousy of your Elohim. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 25. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahweh your El, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land wherein you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, where the Yahweh shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell.
Right. This is part of our judgment. Worshiping that big piece of wood of Christianity and that rock of Islam is part of our judgment, because we wouldn't do what we were supposed to do. So our judgment then, all right, I'm going to give you then. See, I didn't give you these things to worship. But since you want to go ahead and do all of these things and go all the way out for the heathen, I'm going to make you stuck to it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 29. But if from thence you shall seek Yahweh your El, you shall find him, if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul.
So if you're going to fake at it, you can go ahead and stop. Because you're not going to be able to find Yahweh. Because he's going to see that half effort and he's not going to deal with you. You have to seek Yahweh with all your heart and with all your soul. And he knows what your ability is. So you can go fake with somebody else. Go ahead.
When you art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to Yahweh your El, and shall be obedient unto his voice, for Yahweh your El is a merciful El, he will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore unto them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that El created man upon the earth, and asked from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there has been any such thing as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Did ever the people hear the voice of El speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard and live? Or has Elohim essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your El did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Unto you it was showed, that you might know that Yahweh he is El, there is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made you to hear his voice, that he might instruct you. And upon earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out in the sight with his mighty power out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before you greater and mightier than you are, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance, as it is this day.
Right. So if you're counting on your just what you know you can do beforehand, you're going to have a problem. It says to drive out nations from before you that are greater and mightier than you are. Go ahead.
Know therefore this day and consider it in your heart, that Yahweh, He is El in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else.
All right, let's go to Mark chapter 12. Mark chapter 12, and let's read verses 28 through 34. So you have a lot of things you have to be able to show those things in the Old Testament and in the New, because people will read some things in the Old Testament and they've automatically been poisoned against everything that's in the Old Testament unless the subject is tied. So you're going to have to be able to go to the New Testament and show those same things, or else there's a great deal of our people that have already written it off before you even finish talking. Mark chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 28.
And one of the scribes came, having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? And Yahshua answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Adonai, our Elohim, is one Adonai. And you shall love the Adonai your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment.
This is the beginning. So if you're not going to do all of these things, then you might as well just stop. Now, all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, that's all yours. You can't give me what he got. That's his ability. No, Yahweh know what your best ability is. See? That's all your heart, all your mind, all your strength. So that means it varies per person. Go ahead.
And the second is like, namely this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's none other commandment greater than these. And the scribe said unto him, Well, master, you have said the truth, for there is one Elohim, and there's none other but he. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. And when Yahshua saw that he answered discreetly, he said unto him, You are not far from the kingdom of Elohim. And no man after thus ask him any questions.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 25. Matthew chapter 25, and let's read verses 14 through 46. So Yahshua says the same thing that Yahweh states. With all your mind, all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. None of us can be perfect, but we can always give it a perfect try, which is the best that we can do. Yahweh don't require you the best that somebody else can do. Well, Sock can do such and such. You ain't Sock. You don't know what I've been through. But Yahweh know what you've been through. And he know exactly what you have ability to do. Matthew chapter 25, and let's start at verse 14.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
Every man was given according to his several ability. So one was given 5, another was given 2, another was given 1. They had different abilities. He didn't tell each one of them, you better come back with this number. You need to come back with this number. Everybody need to show back up with 5 talents. That's not what he said. They were given according to their several ability. So in other words, before the thing even starts, he already know what you can do. Go ahead.
Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents.
He was already a gifted person, so he was given more than everybody else, and he proved that by receiving more than everybody else, it was a rightfully done thing. Because now he's taken that 5 and gained other 5. Go ahead.
And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
Right. Good ability, not as high as the first, but still good. Go ahead.
But he that received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants comes and reckons with them.
It says after a long time. So everybody had plenty of time. And he said, he went, and then he came back a week later. All right, what you got? No. After a long time. So everybody got time enough. See, Yahweh always give you time to see if you going to fix your own mess. And people think that means, oh, I got away with it. Yahweh didn't see me. No, he saw you, boo-boo. Oh, he just giving you time to see if I want to be bang. So they ain't gonna fix this, huh? All right. Somebody go on down there and fix that for me. Go ahead.
It's in verse 16. He said he went and traded with the same. We don't sit here and think he went and traded money for money. This man went and probably bought merchandise, sold it, increased the money.
He took care of his business. Right. He did what he needed to do to increase, and that may be given, taken here, may have lost some over here, may have gained more over here. At the end of the day, he has double. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Master, you delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His master said unto him, Well done, you good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Master, you delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His master said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant.
Now, he didn't tell him, you ain't bring back 10. So he didn't have a specific number. He did the best that he could do according to his ability. Go ahead.
You have been faithful over a few things. I'll make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master.
Right. Same thing that was told the other. Go ahead.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew that you are an hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not strawed.
This is how you always know it's a mess. Because we always start with an excuse. All right, okay, see, what had happened was, let me tell you, see, I knew how you were. See, now, it's his fault. You see, you got to learn the twist of the game here. See, it didn't have nothing to do with him not loving his master with all his heart and mind. It had something to do with the master. See, now pay attention. I knew that you are a hard man. See, you're reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not strawed. And I was afraid. Right. Go ahead.
And went and hid your talent in the earth. Lo, there you have, that is yours.
Right. So I ain't giving you no effort. I'm not giving you no anything. What I'm going to give you is a shovel. I'm going to dig a hole and I'm going to put that stuff in it. And I'm going on about my business. And we're going to act like everything is everything. Until the day you come back and then I'm going to dig a hole and get that same stuff right out of that hole. Go ahead.
And his master answered and said unto him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I have not strawed.
Right. So he's wondering, where was your effort? What was your effort in loving with your whole heart, mind, soul, strength? Where was your effort? Go ahead.
And the thing about it is, you confess and you know his ways. You know his expectations.
Exactly. See? But we like to play stupid smart. See? Well, we smart, but we stupid at the same time. See, so we think that's gonna get us out. Well, I ain't know. I know. Wait a minute. Now you can't know and not know. Which is it? Go ahead.
You ought therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with interest. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which has 10 talents. For unto everyone that has shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that has not shall be taken away even that which he has.
Right. But he has not because of how he dealt with what he had. That's why he has not. He got one, but he really ain't had one. Because of how he dealt with the one. Now take that one and give it to him with 10. But Yahweh, he got 10. Now he got 11. Go ahead.
And cast you the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
Right. And every time you look at that demonic worship and all that Masonic order, you find that little star that they had the little goat head sitting in. See, there's a reason why them people that end up doing all their little devil worship, they have that goat head. That Baphomet is a goat head, and then it's strange on the rest of it. It's a man, woman, a woman, man. It's a that thing gets stranger the more you look at it. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in.
Right. So now this is where it gets even more confusing, because now this is effort shown on the part of believers, but they don't exactly know who they doing the stuff to. Read.
Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer, saying, Adonai, when saw we you and hungered and fed you?
Now this the righteous. They only know when they did it. Wait a minute. Now hold on. Now, man, I believe I've done good things, but I don't remember feeding you. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember clothing you. I don't even remember ever seeing you like that. You know? So I don't want you to like give me something that I don't deserve type thing. So I'm just saying though, when this happened, because I don't remember this him. Go ahead.
Or thirsty, and gave you drink? When saw we you a stranger, and took you in? Or naked, and clothed you? Or when saw we you sick, or in prison, and came unto you?
Yeah, when did we do this stuff? Go ahead.
And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of you, your brethren, or these my brethren, you have done it unto me.
All right, look around. This the least of your brethren. What have you done to them? Right. Read, man.
Verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and you visited me not.
Now, understand. The righteous did it not knowing that this was going to be accounted unto them. That means their severability didn't change when they knew it was Yahweh and when they didn't know it was Yahweh. See, when a person is about peace, you know, it don't matter if the dude in front of them is some muscle-bound dude with ill muscles, or if he a little dude sitting there with a pocket protector on. If he about peace, he try to talk the man out of the fight. So I used to go to school with them dudes who, whenever they got a bunch of people with them, they the boldest, they running off at the mouth because all their partners with them. And they know they got a pistol with them. But I've seen guys that were actually humble, little bitty dudes you wouldn't even know. The dude, the 3rd-degree black belt, and got 2 pistols got a pistol under each arm, and you will never know it. And he still try his best to talk you out of the fight. And I'm hoping, I'm like, please let that brother listen to him, talk him out, because you don't know. This brother got a grenade launcher. I ain't never seen too many brothers that had a grenade launcher, but this brother did, and he was just as calm, and he would talk people out of a fight. But you get into a fight with him, and you gonna regret it. Go ahead.
Verse 45. Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you did it unto the one of the least of these, you did it not to me.
Right. So, look among your brothers. See what you did not to. Right. Go ahead.
And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
And if people consider stuff like that, I mean, you have to consider that you may end up standing before that judgment seat, and Yahweh say, why you had a bad attitude with me when I saw you? I had no bad attitude when I saw you, and I had and when. Right out there now. I ain't seen you. I ain't seen Yahweh. I swear I ain't seen you. Yeah. You seen me? I had on the blue coffee. No, man. The blue coffee? You talking about Eliab? Right. Right. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. Right. Right. Y'all ever seen that what's that movie we like? The one with the angels. And they keep changing, the book keep changing. The one Matt Damon was in it. It was something like something report or something like that. What was it? Can't think of the name. But basically it was no. I can't it ain't that. It's something about, it was a plan for their life, and the plan kept changing, and it was very interesting how one part of the plan was they were supposed to be married, but then there's another part of the plan that changed. But they, of course, didn't get the memo that the plan was changed, so they kept trying to be with one another, and all the angels kept trying to keep them away from each other. And they kept going and kept pushing to the point where the plan was changed back because of their effort at trying to stay with one another. So had they given up earlier, the plan would have stayed what it was. But because they kept pushing, Adjustment Bureau, that's what it is. And then you have, of course, one of the people who was so-called playing the angel. You then find out that he was the one that was supposed to be God. So it's like that thing. It is written, some of you have entertained angels unawares. And some people treat people, they have such respect of persons that they treat various people nice, or they'll treat the people that they really like nice, and then everybody else like crap. Yahweh will make sure that he send one of them angels your way. And some people might already have condemned themselves because the person didn't look like it would be somebody that you should respect. And then you got that thing that you got to answer. When I saw you, you was disrespectful to me. You didn't try to love me with your whole heart. When I did that to you? Right. Go ahead, brother.
You know, we get on this thing about, oh, what is to be must be. The course is already set. Well, we can see with Nineveh. The course was set. But they completely made a full 360 change with all their soul, all their hearts, and all their minds. And Yahweh said, okay, let's go ahead and back up off this thing.
Repentance can change any course. See, when it's down to the point where you've gone so far that Yahweh won't let you repent, then that was Pharaoh in Egypt. So every time he tried to repent, Yahweh wouldn't let him. And he wasn't repenting for real anyway. He was just repenting to get the harsh weight off of him. See, there's some people repent because they said what I did was wrong. And others repent because they be like, I don't want to go to jail. That's a different repentance. Jeremiah chapter 3, let's start that at verse 1.
They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with me, with many lovers. Yet return again to me, says Yahweh.
Right. You done participated with many lovers. Keeping Christmas, keeping Halloween, keeping Easter. You walk around chasing eggs and bunnies, dressing yourself up to be dead people and asking for candy at strange houses. Putting on all green, no good, and damn well you don't know where Ireland is. If you ask most black people, find Ireland on this map, they'll pick out Louisiana. I ain't even in the same country, idiot. Take off all that damn green. Read, man.
Verse 2. Lift up your eyes unto the high places, and see where you have not been lain with. In the ways have you sat for them as the Arabian in the wilderness. And you have polluted the land with your whoredoms and with your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withholden, and there has been no latter rain, and you have had a whore's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed.
You can't make no whore be ashamed. She ain't ashamed. You can say whatever you want to say. She ain't ashamed. She looking at you, what's wrong with you? Read.
Will you not from this time cry unto me, my father, you are the God of my youth? Will he reserve his anger forever? Will he keep it to the end? Behold, you have spoken and done evil things as you could. Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Uzziah the king, have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She's gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree.
Right. Now, you're going to keep hearing this under every green tree. This is what they're about to do. And they don't understand that these things were instituted way before Christ was anywhere on the scene. Way before we came anywhere near America. They were already bound down to that tree. And they're doing the same thing now. See, the Euro Gentiles, they go get them a live tree, cut it down. I mean, you know, we get one, we get it out of Target, and then we just keep putting it back up in the attic. But they get a live tree. There's a reason why they get that live tree. See, that's connected to that thing. Every year they got to get a new tree. We just can't afford it like that. Go ahead.
And there has played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn you on to me. But she returned not, and her treacherous sister Yehuda saw it.
Right. She has played the harlot under the green tree. That's not what people thinking that they're doing. But that's what they're about to do here in a couple of days. And they ain't going to have a problem with you because you don't show up to their whole party. Don't know a hoe want to be a hoe by themselves. Every time you get ready to do some whoredom, one of your little hoish friends always got, you want to go with me? Why? Because I don't want to be no hoe by myself. Right. You think they really care about you. They just don't want to be by themselves hoes. That's all. They want you to come and be a whore with them. That's what that is. You think they care about you. You think that's why they call you, know? Right. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 8. And I saw, when for all these causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had brought her away, and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Yehuda feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
Right. Committed adultery. That's not what they thinking they doing. They all happy, exchanging gifts. The last thing on their mind is that they are committing adultery. Go ahead.
And it came to pass through the lightness of their whoredom that she defiled the land, and committed adultery with stones and with stocks. And yet for all this her treacherous sister Yehuda has not returned unto me with her whole heart, but feignedly, saith Yahweh.
Feignedly, half-heartedly. Have not returned with her whole heart. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto me, the backsliding Israel has justified herself more than treacherous Yehuda. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, you backsliding Israel, saith Yahweh, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith Yahweh, and I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity, that you have transgressed against Yahweh your El, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh.
Right, and this is what causes us the biggest issue. Only acknowledge your iniquity. And because Israel won't acknowledge anything, or will do it feignedly or half-heartedly, he has to keep pushing that punishment. He has to keep pushing, keep pressing, because Israel won't acknowledge it. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I'll take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
Right. Yahweh don't need your whole family to bring your bloodline through to the holy city. See, what we don't understand is we fighting for position. It's many families upon the earth of Israel. He don't need all your whole family. So you going and everybody want to tell everybody in their family about the word. And these folks were reading the Bible 20 years before you. But when you start talking about the details of this book, them people start looking at you cross-eyed and sideways. What in the world are you talking about? Wait a minute, man. Surely you've been reading this book for 20 years. I know you done came across Israel in here. They don't know nothing about it. Now, how is that possible? Right. Go ahead.
And I'll give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Yahweh says, I will give you pastors according to my heart. Here's the thing. You have to be somebody after Yahweh's heart to even receive a pastor that's after his heart. Otherwise, a pastor that's after Yahweh's heart don't do nothing but get on other people's nerves. See, they love Creflo. Because he's somebody after their heart. He says all the things that they want to hear. A pastor after Yahweh's heart says the things that is pleasing unto Yahweh, which means it may make a few people upset. But folks ain't bold enough to say that they got a problem with Yahweh. So who they going to have a problem with is that man that they see. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, when you be multiplied and increase in the land, in those days, saith Yahweh, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done any more. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahweh, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of Yahweh, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart.
Right, and it's hard to convince people that their heart is evil, because they think if they think it, then it must be okay. Go ahead.
In those days the house of Yehudah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. But I said, how shall I put you among the children, and give you a pleasant land, a goodly heritage of the host of nations? And I said, you shall call me my father, and shall not turn away from me. Surely as a wife treacherously departs from her husband, so have you dealt treacherously with me.
Right, and that's exactly what's happened in each one of these so-called holidays. We have treacherously departed from Yahweh our Elohim. Go ahead.
O house of Israel, saith Yahweh, a voice was heard upon the high places, weeping in supplications of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way, and they have forgotten Yahweh their El.
They have forgotten Yahweh. All of these things that we have received of Yahweh, but when it comes down to it, we forget about Yahweh until we need something. Till we get in a bind. Then we remember Yahweh. Go ahead.
Return, you backsliding children, and I will heal you of your backslidings. Behold, we come unto you, for you are Yahweh our El. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in Yahweh our El is the salvation of Israel. For shame has devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. We lie down in our shame, and our confusion covers us. For we have sinned against Yahweh our El, we and our fathers, from our youth even unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh, our El.
All right, let's go to Numbers chapter 5. I mean, we see the hot anger that Yahweh had as Israel made this calf and was down celebrating it. In the process of doing the same thing. Go ahead.
No, I just want to touch on verse 22 back in Jeremiah, where it says, return you backsliding children, and I will heal your backslidings.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us got this idea that we can fix ourselves.
Yeah, that don't never work out. And it don't matter how many times people try it. Even a doctor can't operate on this stuff. He got to get somebody else to do that. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 5 and verse 12. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if any man's wife goes aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner, and the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled.
So Yahweh has orchestrated this same thing and set it forth because this is the very thing that he has endured with the children of Israel. So he has set forth a way right on this earth for men who are going to encounter the same thing. Matter of fact, as you start going to certain places, this is part of Yahweh's punishment, that he'll make these things happen because of the jealousy that Israel has made him feel. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her, the 10th part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing lawlessness to remembrance.
Bringing iniquity to remembrance. Go ahead.
And the priest shall bring her near and set her before Yahweh. And the priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle the priest shall take, and put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before Yahweh, and uncover the woman's head, and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causes the curse. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, if no man have lain with you, and if you have not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of your husband, be you free from this bitter water that causes the curse. But if you have gone aside to another instead of your husband, and if you be defiled, and some man have lain with you beside your husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing. And the priest shall say unto the woman, Yahweh make your curse and an oath among your people, when Yahweh does make your thigh to rot and your belly to swell. And this water that causes the curse shall go into your bowels, to make your belly to swell and your thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, amen. And
you have to be on a different mindset and a real level of stiff-neckedness to know good and well you done something stupid, and to go through all of that. It's almost like people testing Yahweh. Like, I still may be able to get off with it. I may, and then sit there and say, Amen, amen. Right. Go ahead.
And the priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall blot them out with the bitter water. And he shall cause the woman to drink the water that causes the curse, and the water that causes the curse shall enter into her and become bitter. And the priest shall take the jealousy offering out of the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before Yahweh, and offer it upon the altar. And the priest shall take an handful of the offering, even the memorial thereof, and burn it upon the altar, and afterwards shall cause the woman to drink the water. And when he has made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass, that, If she be defiled and have done trespasses against her husband, that the water that causes the curse shall enter into her, and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thigh shall rot, and the woman shall be accursed among her people. And if the woman be not defiled, but be clean, then she shall be free, and shall conceive seed. This is the law of jealousy, when a wife goes aside to another instead of her husband, and is defiled. Or when the spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before Yahweh, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from lawlessness, and his woman shall bear her lawlessness.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32, and let's start this at verse 1.
Verse 1. Give ear, O you heavens, and I'll speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh, ascribe you greatness unto our El. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment. A El of truth and without lawlessness, just and right is he.
Right, and this is just right here, verse 3. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh. How you gonna publish your name if you can't say it? How you gonna publish your name if you can't write it? Yet you listen to these ish, and they tell you you can't say it or speak it, so we just gonna give you another name. Just say Hashem. It sounds like somebody done sneezed or something. Hashem, bless you. Who is that? Yet they say they believe in the Torah. Now you understand why they keep having to make them other books. This book, they can't prove what they do in this book. All them lighting of candles and bringing in the Sabbath. Y'all notice how much we done read here? You ain't heard them, not one person bring in the Sabbath yet. Like the Sabbath needs somebody. Here, Sabbath. Come on, Sabbath. Come on, Sabbath. Come on. Nobody need to call the Sabbath then. You notice we ain't read none of that? Not a nary time have we read not one of it. Right. Because it didn't come out of this book. Right. They can't prove what they do out of this book. That's why they got to get another one. And another one. And another one. Every time you turn around, they got a new book. Why? Because people keep finding out, hey man, this stuff, where you get this from? What show me this? And they can't show it to you in this book. They got to go get their other book and show it to you. But from what I heard, the Jews supposed to believe in the Torah. So show it to me in the law book. Show it to me in the Torah. They can't. It ain't in there. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 5. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus requite Yahweh, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he your father that has brought you? Has he not made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they shall tell you. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Right. According to the number of the children of Israel. Everything is based off of you. Go ahead.
For Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, flutters over her young, spreads abroad her wings, takes them, bears them on her wings. So Yahweh alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of kine and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat, and you did drink the pure blood of the grape. But Yeshurun waxed fat and kicked. You are waxen fat. You are grown thick. You are covered with fatness. Then he forsook Elohim, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Right. As we get things that we want, as we achieve things, we get further and further away from Yahweh, because we said, you know, what we need Yahweh for? We got everything we need. So then Yahweh have to touch us and get our attention. Go ahead.
Verse 16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Elohim.
Right. Because that whole Halloween thing is the night of the living dead. And if you deal with them Hispanics, they'll tell you right off the rip that it's the night of the living dead. They make food and set it out for dead people. That's the reason why most of the Halloween little costumes is, you know, they either skeletons or some half dead person, and they got the eyes hanging out. They're supposed to be done crawled out the grave. They call it the night of the living dead. So they actually do. I mean, they actually cooking food for dead. Some of them keep dead bodies in their houses for extended periods of time, and make food and carry it unto them in the room. This is what we partake in, not understanding what that Halloween is all about. Go ahead.
To gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begot you, you are unmindful and have forgotten Elohim that formed you. And when Yahweh saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I'll hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is no Elohim. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I'll move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I'll provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
Right, and this is what people don't want to deal with. As Yahweh then invites these other nations to partake of Israel's glory, and then punishes Israel, people end up having a problem. This is what the issue is with these brothers that's on the corner talking about nobody else will be able to attain unto their salvation. They don't understand. Because of how we dealt with things, now other people are being brought into our midst. Yahweh give you much time, but after Israel didn't do anything with it, then Yahweh, okay, Gentiles, come on in. Let Gentiles come in. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Come on, sit down. Yeah, Israel, you slide to the back. Go to the back. Now we got a problem. Hey, wait a minute. What are you doing in there? Because you ain't take care of your business. All right, we'll do. No. Too late now. Now you're going to do it with them in here. Go ahead.
You know, sometimes we just got to look at the fact of where Yahweh stands from a parental point of view. Because even here he says, I'm going to hide my face. I'm going to step back and see what they're going to do. As parents, we've all done that. You walk in the room and you just stand there. Let me see what this little person going to do.
Some parents have done that. Some parents can't punish themselves long enough to punish their own kids. So the punishment can't last. They sit down there, you cannot look at television. Then they turn around and then the kid right beside them. Well, let me ask you a question. He can't look at TV, but you looking at TV. And he's sitting right beside you. Hey, you looking at TV? Right. See, they can't punish themselves long enough to punish the child. And that's why you got a little rotten children. You got to be willing to punish yourself to punish them. It hurt Yahweh to be separated from Israel. It hurt Yahweh to have to turn his back on the apple of his eye. Yahweh loves Israel. But after so long, he realized it's time for some tough love now. Because I done tried to give you everything I can give you, but you stiff-necked and rebellious. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 22. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with hunger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs.
Right. So we got terror outside, dealing with the heathen. Then we got problems from within, dealing from Israel, who's supposed to be baptized. Right. Let's go to Hosea chapter 2. Because see, as Yahweh is trying to make those changes in us, we're fighting it because we want to stay the same. See, that's that mindset that, really, I was already perfect before I got here, I mean, y'all just, you teach me a little, couple Bible verses and stuff like that, But I already had it all together before I got here. Right. Sure you did. Sure you did. Come in here dripping with curses. Still think, I had it all together right. Curse just dripping all down the hall. Somebody go clean up that curse. It's just all around the place. Right. Right. But you think you were fine before you got here. Right. Right. Hosea chapter 2. And we're going to start that at verse 1. Hey, it wasn't no different than me. I showed up dripping with curses too. Ride motorcycles. I had a full motorcycle suit, showed up looking like a Power Ranger. Doing 150 miles an hour on my way to church. At some point I had realized, I'm somewhat of an idiot. The problem is some of y'all ain't figured it out yet. It's got to be at some point you got to sit there and look at that mirror and say, I am somewhat of an idiot. The problem is you ain't got to that point yet. That's why you can't get to the change. Because you still think you all right. That's why you can't get fixed. Because you think you're already fixed. Hosea chapter 2. Let's start that at verse 1.
Say you unto your brethren, Ami, and to your sisters, Ruhamah, plead with your mother, plead, for she's not my wife, neither am I her husband.
See, it takes a lot for Yahweh to get to this point now. Go ahead.
Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts. Lest I strip her naked, and set her as in the day that she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst.
Right. It's crazy that people will go out and exposing their nakedness, but then when you make them naked, then they're ashamed. It is amazing how that works. But then you put that on so we see your nakedness. Then you take it off. Oh my goodness, I'm naked. Yeah, you were naked before. Right. Go ahead.
And I'll not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whoredoms.
Right, because they grow up watching the very whorish deeds of us, and then they perfect the whoredom. Watching us. Go ahead.
For their mother has played the harlot. She that conceived them has done shamefully. For she said, I'll go after my lovers that give me my bread, and my water, my wool, and my flax, mine oil, and my drink.
Right. See, I get this from Mr. Bob Dabalina. See, he's so nice. He let me work there and everything. Right. Go ahead.
Therefore, behold, I will hedge up your way with thorns, and make a wall, that she shall not find her path. And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them.
Right. All her effort going to her lovers, to the point to where she thinks she receiving something. Go ahead.
Then shall she say, I'll go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now.
Mm-hmm.
For she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil.
I gave her all that stuff. Go ahead.
And multiplied her silver and gold. which they prepared for Baal.
Which she prepared for another god. Go ahead.
Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness.
Yahweh say, I'm finna do a little Indian giving now. Say, you, this is where you gonna put your attention? Give me back all my stuff. Go ahead.
And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers.
You want to be naked in front of your lovers? I'm gonna make you naked in front of your lovers. That's what you wanted, right? Here it is. Go ahead.
In America, they'll say, well, you got her used to this lifestyle. You're going to have to pay spousal support.
Right? Hey, when them folk came and auctioned us off, we were sitting there almost naked. Then, to make us look good in our nakedness, they'll oil you down. Put Vaseline all over your body so you shine at the auction. Right. Go ahead.
And none shall deliver her out of mine hand. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her sabbats, and all her solemn feasts. And I'll destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she had said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me. And I'll make them a forest, and the beast of the field shall eat them. And I'll visit upon her the days of Baalim, wherein she burnt incense to them. And she decked herself with her earrings and her jewels. And she went after her lovers, and forgot me, saith Yahweh.
Made herself pretty, and when certain places said, and you painted your face, you know that makeup, and put on so much makeup that you'd be like, who are you? Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her, and bring her into the wilderness, and speak comfortably unto her.
Even after all that, Yahweh is still trying to woo his wife. I will allure her, bring her into the wilderness, and speak comfortably unto her. Even after all this hell, he's still trying to allure her and speak comfortably unto her so that he can convince her to change. Go ahead.
And I'll give her vineyards from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, saith Yahweh, that you shall call me Ishai, and shall call me no more Baali. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth.
Right. All that, Lord. Oh, Lord, I love you, Lord. Oh, Lord. It gets so much that we just say it a different way. Lord. Like you done said something different. God. Right. Read, man.
And they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beast of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and will make them to lie down safely. And I will betroth you unto me forever. Yes, I'll betroth you unto me in righteousness, and in judgment, and in loving kindness, and in mercies. I will even betroth you unto me in faithfulness, and you shall know Yahweh. And it shall come to pass in that day, I will hear, saith Yahweh, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn, and the wine, and the oil, and they shall hear Yezreel. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I'll say to them which were not my people, you are my people. And they shall say, you are my Elohim.
Yahweh is rich in mercy, but it does take some doing on our behalf for us to benefit from that mercy. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 16. Ezekiel 16, and let's start that at verse 1.
Again the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus said the Adonai Yahweh unto Jerusalem.
Now, this is not going to make you very popular with Israel. Cause Jerusalem to know her abominations. This is the job of the prophet and the priest and the pastors, to cause Israel to know her abominations. But you don't make a lot of friends when you do that. Because people, why you always bringing the light stuff that I done wrong? How you going to repent from it? You gonna keep acting like you ain't never did it? How you going to repent from it? Go ahead.
Your birth and your nativity is of the land of Canaan. Your father was an Amorite and your mother an Hittite. And as for your nativity, in the day you was born, your navel was not cut, neither was you washed in water to supple you. You was not salted at all, nor swaddled at all. None I pitied you, to do any of these unto you, to have compassion upon you, but you was cast out into the open field, to the loathing of your person, in the day that you was born. And when I passed by you, and saw you polluted in your own blood, I said unto you, when you was in your blood, live. Yes, I said unto you, when you was in your blood, live. I have caused you to multiply as the bud of the field, and you have increased and waxen great, and you are come to excellent ornaments. Your breasts are fashioned, and your hair is grown, whereas you was naked and bare. Now when I passed by you, and looked upon you, behold, your time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over you, and covered your nakedness. Yes, I swear unto you, and entered into a covenant with you, said the Adonai Yahweh, and you became mine. Then washed I you with water. Yes, I thoroughly washed away your blood from you, and I anointed you with oil. I clothed you also with broidered work, and shod you with badger skin, and I girded you about with fine linen, and I covered you with silk. I decked you also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon your hands, and a chain on your neck. And I put a jewel on your forehead, and earrings in your ears, and a beautiful crown upon your head.
But Israel don't remember all this. Go ahead.
Thus was you decked with gold and silver. Your raiment was of fine linen, and silk, and broidered work. You did eat fine flour, and honey, and oil, and you was exceeding beautiful, and you did prosper into a kingdom. And your renown went forth among the heathen for your beauty, for it was perfect through your comeliness.
Through my comeliness.
Pardon me. For it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon you, said the Adonai Yahweh. But you did trust in your own beauty, and played the harlot because of your renown, and poured out your fornications on everyone that passed by.
Right.
His it was.
His it was. Once Israel reached a certain level, once again, now we forget Yahweh. Go ahead.
And of your garments you did take, and decked your high places with diverse colors, and played the harlot thereupon. The likeness shall not come, neither shall it be so. You have also taken your fair jewels of my gold and of my silver, which I had given you, and made to yourself images of men, and did commit whoredom with them. You took your broidered garments and covered them, and you have set mine oil and mine incense before them. My meat also, which I gave you, fine flour and oil and honey, wherewith I fed you, you have even set it before them for a sweet savor. And thus it was, saith the Adonai Yahweh.
Right, provoking him unto great jealousy. Go ahead.
Moreover, you have taken your sons and your daughters, whom you have borne unto me, and these have you sacrificed unto them to be devoured. Is this of your whoredoms a small matter?
Right. Offering your kids to be sacrificed, going along with the customs of the other nations. And Israel partook in that too. Go ahead.
Is this of your whoredoms a small matter, that you have slain my children, and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them? And in all your abominations and your whoredoms you have not remembered the days of your youth, when you was naked and bare, and was polluted in your blood.
Right. We'll remember that. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after all your wickedness, woe unto you, saith the Adonai Yahweh, that you have also built unto you an eminent place, and have made you an high place in every street. You have built your high places at every head of the way, and have made your beauty to be abhorred, and have opened your foot to everyone that passed by, and multiplied your whoredoms.
You have opened your feet to everyone that passed by, and multiplied your whoredom. Yahweh pretty serious about this thing. Go ahead.
You have also committed fornications with the Egyptians your neighbors, great of flesh, and have increased your whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Behold, therefore I have stretched out my hand over you, and have diminished your ordinary food,
Right.
and delivered you unto the will of them that hate you, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of your lewd way.
Diminish your ordinary food. So now Yahweh's starting to take things away so that he can get your attention. But see, Israel's so stiff-necked, we still won't acknowledge anything. Go ahead.
You know, even with this, it's talking about the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of your lewd way. The Africans hate that we calling ourselves African Americans. You ain't got nothing to do with them people.
Man, the Africans don't have nothing to do with us here. This how you know, even when you deal with, when you start researching that whole spread of AIDS and how it started in New York City and started in Africa at the same time. This is how you know it's a problem. These are two totally different groups of people, and they don't deal with each other. You don't see Africans hanging out with us. Africans don't want to hang out with no cotton pickers. Them the people that sold our people. They don't hang out with us. So you have to ask yourself, how do these things spread in two totally different areas at the same time and amongst people who do not deal with one another? They would have had a better chance doing something with Julio. At least we hang out more with Julio than we do with Africans. Go ahead.
Verse 28. You have played the whore also with the Assyrians, because you was unsatiable. Yes, you have played the harlot with them, and yet could not be satisfied. You have moreover multiplied your fornication in the land of Canaan unto the Chaldee, and yet you was not satisfied herewith. How weak is your heart, saith the Adonai Yahweh, seeing you does all these things, the work of an imperious, whorish woman, in that you built your eminent place in the head of every way, and maketh your high place in every street, and you have not been as an harlot, in that you scorneth higher.
You like a harlot, but you scorn higher. In other words, I'm a whore, but don't pay me. Cause say I don't want to be no official whore. Okay, go ahead.
But as a wife that commits adultery, which takes strangers instead of her husband.
Right, which taketh strangers instead of her husband. Go ahead.
They give gifts to all whores, but you give your gifts to your lovers, and hire them, that they may come on to you on every side of your whoredom.
Hey, that's a confused hoe. Instead of her being out on the corner trying to make money, she on the corner talking about, I'll pay you to come in here. How you doing? Hey, come on. Hey, boy, won't you come on in and have a good time, boy? I ain't gonna $20. What? $20. Come on in. What? So you gonna pay me to come in now? Right. That's a confused hoe right there. She don't even understand what she doing out here. Go ahead.
And the contrary is in you from other women in your whoredoms, whereas none follows you to commit whoredoms, and in that you give it a reward, and their reward is given unto you, therefore you are contrary.
Right, the other whore is saying, what is wrong with this whore? Does she even understand this game?
You messing up the business.
But she is, right, she's driving the price down. Go ahead, bro.
Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus said the Adonai Yahweh, because your filthiness was poured out, and your nakedness discovered through your whoredoms with your lovers, and with all the idols of your abominations, and by the blood of your children, which you did give unto them. Behold, therefore, I will gather all your lovers, which whom you have taken pleasure, and all them that you have loved, with all them that you have hated.
Right. See, this is what happened when you try to be stiff-necked and rebellious, and we won't ever get to that point of actual acknowledging and repenting that Yahweh said, all right, I'm going to gather all your lovers together, and I'm about to make a spectacle. That's after he's giving you all the, don't understand, don't think that Yahweh just approach and he just get to this point. No. It's a long time before he gets to this point. See? And people might be looking at this one way. No. Your lovers is who you give your chief time to. See? You find people that hang out with their homeboys more than they deal with any people in the word. They don't know what the hell they're going through. They don't know what they've been through. But ask them about their little thuggish, ruggish friends down the street. They know everything about them. Right. Them your lovers. Just in case people confused about who your lovers are. That's who you gave your chief time and your chief attention to. Those your lovers. So when your calamity come upon you, call Pook and Man and see if they can come and see about you. Go ahead.
I'll even gather them round about against you, and will discover your nakedness unto them, that they may see all your nakedness.
So the very ones that you gave all your attention to, them the ones I'm gonna send to destroy you. Go ahead.
And I will judge you as women that break wedlock and shed blood are judged, and I'll give your blood even fury and jealousy. And I'll also give you into their hand, and they shall throw down your eminent place, and shall break down your high places. They shall strip you also of your clothes, and shall take of your fair jewels, and leave you naked and bare. They shall also bring up a company against you, and they shall stone you with stones, and thrust you through with their swords.
Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10. Jeremiah chapter 10, and let's read verses 1 through 10.
Verse 1. Hear you the word of Yahweh, which speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
All this comes to this point. So all this harshness, all of this stuff that we've read, it comes right down to this. Go ahead.
For the customs of the people are vain. For one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
Right. We see commercials on right now to this very day, and they show how the people are going to pick out their trees. They have to make it easier for people. They got Christmas tree farms where all they doing is growing the Christmas trees, and people just go there to go and pick out their little Christmas tree. Go ahead.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
Right. They call it that little tinsel. My living room used to be covered with it. It looked gold and silver strings. They put it all around the tree. It'd be all over the floor when you get ready to try to clean up the tree. Now this Jeremiah 10, Christ ain't nowhere on the scene. Christmas ain't got nothing to do with Christ. So it is exactly what it was stated. It is absolute harshness to Yahweh's face. It is spiritual adultery. And they're going to dress themselves up for the spiritual adultery. They're going to put on their makeup and their earrings. Brothers going to put on their nice clothes. Put on their 9-later gators. So they can look good while committing this spiritual adultery. Go ahead.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Right. And no matter how many gifts are in that room, there are certain gifts that will always be placed under that tree, and you cannot get those until everybody else is around, and you got to bow down and get on your knees to get that gift under that tree. This is the worship of that tree, which is supposed to be Nimrod, I think. See, that's the part that people don't get. See, the heathen know exactly what they worshiping. We do it. We don't even understand it. Go ahead.
Verse 6. For as much as there is none like unto you, O Yahweh, you are great, and your name is great in might. Who would not fear you, O King of nations? For to you does it appertain. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto you.
Jump to verse 9.
Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men.
See, I've gone to heathen houses, and they had the Yule plates out. See, people, we don't understand the level of heathen activity the way they do. They got those same plates that's got the silver and gold in the plates. They've set out these plates all out, and it threw me first time I seen it. I said, hey man, that's the stuff in the book right there, man. I ain't know they got Christmas plates. Hey man, the place got silver and gold, and then it's got Yule and all of these. Remember they said, let's throw the Yule log on. See, we don't understand heathen activities the way they understand it. See, you understand why Moshe was made to go in Pharaoh's house so that he could fully understand the paganism. So when Israel came at him, he already knew exactly what they were doing. He knew exactly, like, yeah, you go play them games with somebody else. I already know what you're doing. Matter of fact, I know that better than you know it. Because I was in Pharaoh's house. I know what that really means. You don't even really understand what that is. So you ain't gonna sit down somewhere. So every time they tried to play them games, he saw it coming. Let's go to Luke chapter 1. But you know, that makes people even more angry. That Yahweh has trained you, and every little bit of deception that they try, he already got you ready for it. That makes people angry. Oh, they be mad at you. They be mad at you. And who they need to be mad at is Yahweh. That's who your real anger is with. Luke chapter 1, and let's start that at verse 1.
For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word, it seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto you in order, most excellent Theophilus, that you might know the certainty of those things wherein you have been instructed. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias, of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
Right. So there's a priest named Zacharias who obviously was a Levite. He was of the priest, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron. Okay, Levite. We got all of this going on, and her name was Elizabeth. So you got them put together, and a lot of times people are going through things that really has absolutely nothing to do with them. They're waiting on the timing of Yahweh. Go ahead.
And they were both righteous before Elohim, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Adonai blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years.
Because they're waiting for Yahweh's purpose to come into play. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Elohim in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Adonai. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Adonai standing on the right side of the altar of incense.
Right. Just like his brother coming in and sanctifies the room and light the incense, it said the people were praying without. The people outside praying. All right. He in there by himself, lighting the incense. Then he look up and somebody standing there. Ain't nobody supposed to be in there. Go ahead.
And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for your prayer is heard, and your wife Elizabeth shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yohanan.
Right. So this is why Yohanan had more respect than Yeshua. Yohanan was directly from the priesthood. Go ahead.
And you shall have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Adonai, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb.
Now, Yohanan didn't drink wine nor strong drink. Yeshua did. He making wine. And they go and keep this party going. Man, like, why ain't going? Go ahead, boy. Man, that's the good stuff. Why you should have brought this out first, bro? Go ahead.
And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Adonai their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit of the power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Adonai. And Zacharias said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years.
Right. Now see, we were just talking about this. Zacharias said unto the angel, how shall I know this, seeing I'm an old man? Now you're going to watch this angel about to deal with him, because he done asked this question. Now, this can go one of both ways, because this was said, behold, your prayer is heard. Man, that brother might have prayed that prayer 25 years ago. This woman old. He old. At this point, he don't think he gonna have no more children. So this might be a 25-year-old prayer. And here come the angel. Behold, your prayer is answered. What prayer you talking about, bro? Your wife shall conceive. What wife? You talking about this old lady over here? Man, I prayed that prayer 30 years ago, man. But see, we forget what come out of our mouth. See? And now the angel could very well be holding that. No. You prayed for this. Yeah, 30 years ago. Yeah, that was just 3 days to me. That don't mean that was just 3 days ago. That don't mean nothing to me. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Elohim, and I am sent to speak unto you, and to show you these glad tidings. And behold, you shall be dumb and not able to speak.
I bet you won't answer angel now. Whereby shall I know this? I tell you what, you're going to know it, because you ain't going to be able to talk until it happens. Go ahead.
And behold, you shall be dumb and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because you believe not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season.
So now brother got to go around writing notes and everything, because he questioned the angel of Yahweh. I bet he won't do it no more. Go ahead.
And the people waited for Zacharias, and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned unto them and remained speechless.
Right, so they acting like he done caught the Holy Ghost or something. Ooh, he ain't even talking. Oh my goodness. He can't, because he questioned the angel of Yahweh. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house. And after those days his wife Elizabeth conceived, and hid herself 5 months, saying, Thus had the Adonai dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me, to take away my reproach among men. And in the 6th month the angel Gabriel was sent from Elohim unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth.
Now she hid herself 5 months. Now in the 6th month, this happening. Go ahead.
To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her, and said, Hail, you art highly favored, the Adonai is with you, blessed art you among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for you have found favor with Elohim. And behold, you shall conceive in your womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahshua.
Right, it's one of the biggest lies ever. They put that Jesus in there in verse 31, and you couldn't even say Jesus when this was written in first written in English. Go ahead.
He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Adonai Elohim shall give unto him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man?
Now you're going to have a lot of problem with them old covenant brothers, because they believe that Yahweh can make man and woman out of the dust of the ground. But he absolutely cannot make a child without a man and a woman getting together physically. Now he can make earthquake, he can make the ground open up and eat people. But he absolutely cannot make a child without man and woman being together. Right. They limit their Elohim, because maybe he's not their Elohim. Go ahead.
Verse 35. And the angel said unto her, the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Ghost shall come upon you, and the power of the and the power of the highest shall overshadow you. Therefore also the holy thing which shall be born of you shall be called the Son of Elohim.
Today they call it artificial insemination, but you got some real carnal-minded brothers that want to say, okay, this is the angel laying with the woman. And I can't believe that people follow those people. And you say some mess like that, I can't follow you to the 7-Eleven. I know they owe me all night. Go ahead.
And behold, your cousin Elizabeth, she has also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month with her, who was called barren.
Right. And if you go from the 6th month, and we know it's 9 months to have a baby, it don't matter where you count. If you use the Gregorian calendar or the Hebrew calendar, it don't matter. It ain't going to equal December. And it don't make no sense anyway, because ain't nobody got a child, a newborn child, out in the freezing cold of December. I don't care what you wrap that baby in. You can't even have a cold and go out in December with hardly nothing on. Baby's pores are wide open. That baby dead by the morning. See, the lie don't even make no sense. But see, people get mad at you when their lie don't make no sense. When you start poking holes in their lie, man, what's wrong with you? Your lie don't make no sense. You need to tell a better lie. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 37. For with Elohim nothing shall be impossible. And Mary said, Behold, the handmaid of the Adhering, be it unto me according to your word. And the angel departed from her. And Mary arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste into a city of Yehuda, and entered into the house of Zacharias and saluted Elizabeth. And it came to pass that when Elizabeth heard the salutation of Mary, the babe leapt in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Ghost. And she spake out of a loud voice and said, Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb.
Okay, she had the Holy Ghost, and she shouted, and she talked. Wait a minute, they understood what she was saying. So she didn't go, go. I'm Solomon. Blah, blah, blah. No. Wait a minute. It was a regular word. They understood what she was saying. Right. Go ahead.
And whence is this to me, that the mother of my Adonai should come to me? For, lo, as soon as the voice of your salutation sounded in my ears, the babe leapt in my womb for joy.
And what would be the reason for somebody speaking in an unknown tongue if don't nobody there speak an unknown language? See, folks be out for that show, but that show get you a lot of money. That show get you a lot of money. People love to see it. Go ahead.
And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Adonai. And Mary said, My soul does magnify the Adonai.
Jump to verse 57.
Now Elizabeth's full time came that she should be delivered.
Her full time came that she should be delivered. We know what the full time of a pregnancy is. Go ahead.
And she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard how the Adonai had showed great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zacharias, after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he shall be called Johanan. And they said unto her, There is none of your kindred that is called by this name. And they made signs to his father, how he would have him called. And he asked for a writing table, and wrote, saying, His name is Johanan. And they marveled all. And his mouth was opened immediately, and his tongue loosed, and he spake and praised Elohim.
Now he gets the ability to speak again after all of those things have come to pass. And we see that according to these things that are written in this book, none of these fairy tales that we have been given, none of these things fit what is written in here. So we see that it is a great act of adultery in going against Yahweh, our Elohim. And our Elohim is a very jealous Elohim. He has put things in motion and given us statutes and judgments that we are supposed to direct ourselves by. So we have to stand by and watch, but at the same time be thankful that Yahweh called you out of that gross darkness. How exceedingly evil it would be for you to go back into darkness after Yahweh has called you out. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.